Previously on Talking Point, I discover how innocent looking vapes can be.
There you go.
God. I just thought it was a normal fitness watch.
And how our teens are getting their hands on these illegal devices.
Yeah, Telegram. When you make an order, usually they will come on like the same day.
Earlier you start, definitely the higher the risk of you getting a cancer and lung injury.
This week, I travel to Malaysia to trace the source of some of the vapes sold in Singapore. I'm investigating how vape companies are luring teens in and what we can do to prevent our children from becoming addicted. Malaysia is one of the largest vape liquid manufacturers in the world. While traditional cigarettes contain tobacco and other ingredients like carbon monoxide and tar, e-cigarettes or vapes use a liquid concoction that usually contains nicotine and other chemicals and is commonly called juice. And retail shops selling these juices in the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur are doing a roaring trade. I am starting my investigation here at Vape Empire, one of Malaysia's biggest vape chains. It carries more than 600 varieties of vapes, liquids, and accessories, including products from its own brands. It even exports its locally made vape juices to countries around the world.
Mostly we sell disposables, and they range from 500 puffs all the way up to 7,500.
Okay.
So this is the latest one that we have.
Yeah.
It's 7,000 puffs.
Oh, and they look like little smoothie cups.
Yep.
And 7,000 puffs, how long does that usually last?
It depends on how much you vape, but usually about 2 weeks.
Do you have Singaporean customers?
Yes, quite a lot of them
Oh,
actually.
yeah. There are so many different flavors, like lime vanilla ice cream, honeydew lychee, and then I saw somewhere there's like a creme brulee.
Creme brulee,
Caramel
pudding,
egg.
yeah.
For the flavors, what do people usually like?
Mostly sweet fruits like strawberry. So AXO is our in-house brand. We also have a few more other disposables that are also by us.
Yeah.
And so this is just an example. This is our latest one.
Yeah.
So the device is 38 ringgit. It comes with one free flavor. So once this flavor is finished, you just get the flavor. So this is 20 ringgit.
What's the appeal from your products?
Mostly just the flavors. We make great flavors. Our juice makers are very talented. Malaysia is known for being one of the best juice makers in the world.
And I see a lot of them come in different forms, like different colors and then different shapes, like these pen ones, and then this one is quite beautiful looking. So are these with the fancier designs, the disposable ones?
Yes, so now they're starting to make the disposables in all kinds of different designs just to make it more interesting and keep the market more colorful.
Can you tell me what exactly is a disposable vape and how different is it?
A traditional vape, you would have to get the device, the battery separately, the tank, and also the juice and the coils. And for the coils, you would have to put the cotton through it, and it's a bit tedious. With the disposables, it's all already made for you, so the cotton is already made, the coils are all made, flavors already inside, and there's nothing much that you need to do besides charging it. It's very, very convenient. Before this, they never had this much of different varieties of many different products.
Yeah.
And so now that the technology has advanced, we see a lot more people being interested in vaping.
It's colorful, convenient, and the range of flavors is mind-blowing. It's no wonder younger people are lured into the world of vapes. But earlier, I found out some horrifying truths about vapes.
We found high amount of formaldehyde in the aerosol. Formaldehyde is actually a cancer-causing agent.
Telegram listings show Vape Empire products being hawked in Singapore. I need to meet the man behind the company. In the test also, we found that a byproduct to vaping, things like lead that comes from, the metal reacting with the heating element. So how do you think you justify that vaping can be healthier than smoking? After visiting a vape shop, I see the appeal. The different flavors, sleek packaging, and sweet scent in the air. Vapes are small, pretty discreet, easy enough to smuggle across the causeway. And with a ready supply, doesn't look like the problem is going away anytime soon. This is Zach O, the man responsible for growing Vape Empire from one store to now more than 100 across the country in less than 10 years. We did some testing on vape liquids in Singapore. We found that there were chemicals that were harmful, and some of the chemicals, scientists are still trying to figure out what they are. Is it a concern of yours?
We are not selling vape and claiming this as a 100% healthy product. We are selling vape as a harm reduction compared to smoking.
In the test also, we found that a byproduct to vaping, things like lead that comes from, the metal reacting with the heating element. So how do you justify that vaping can be healthier than smoking?
I'm an example of an ex-smoker. I've done my personal health check last year. Doctor have claimed my lungs are clean. If you smoke, what is the main cause of illness that is caused from smoking, which is tar? It's not the nicotine. Tar causes your lung infections, lung cancer. We are all agreeable on this point that vape is not 100% safe. But like Public Health England have declared, it is 95% safer than smoking. So we do understand that we do not know what is the long-term consequences of vaping, but it is still better than smoking.
A lot of the vapes, the designs, the colors, they're very attractive to the younger people.
For Vape Empire, we have a policy that we don't sell to under 18. We are not the police that we check everyone's IC, but somebody looks young, we don't sell to them.
So we did speak to some teens in Singapore who are vaping, and they said that the flavors are the things that attracted them. Is it really necessary to have so many flavors for people to quit smoking?
Why there's so many is that different products meet different needs. It is so weird. I might find that I love mango, but you might hate mango. So this is the reason why there are so many variants in the flavors. Everyone has a different taste bud. We do not encourage new vapors that are not smoking. That I want to make it clear. For Vape Empire, we do not encourage that.
So with some of the brands that you carry, for example, AXO, those can be found in the Telegram groups in Singapore where they are selling the liquids. Do you monitor where your products go to?
For Vape Empire, we as a company, as I'm the main owner of the company, I have always stressed on us following the law as much as possible. Don't mess up with the law. On the reason how come AXO is being found in Singapore, to be honest, I'm not too sure. This must be self-consumption. They might have bought it in JB and brought it back. Some to sell it to their friends or what, I'm not too sure.
Do you think vaping is the future of smoking?
I think so, yes.
Why?
Things changes over time. I like to take the example of Nokia, how Nokia died off from the mobile industry because of how iPhone and all the Android systems are taking over the world. Vaping, is the new smoking. I started vaping 10 years ago. I stopped smoking 7 years ago. My consumption of vape have reduced by at least 5 times now. I'm slowly cutting down my vape. Honestly, for me, I feel maybe in 2-3 years' time, I might even stop vaping totally because I don't feel like picking one up now even.
Vaping became a cultural phenomenon in 2015 thanks to an American company called Juul. Using sleek, minimalist designs, fruity flavors, and colorful ads featuring young people, it hooked a new audience among whom smoking was no longer cool: teens. In September 2022, Juul was ordered to pay more than $400 million in a settlement over the way it marketed its vaping products to young people. But like Vape Empire, most vape companies insist teens aren't their target audience. This isn't what Professor Mei Luen believes, at least from her studies on the impact of advertising and social media on youths.
All right, so these are just some of the general advertising for vapes. But I wanted to get your opinion. Who do you think they're targeting?
The type of color and the positioning that they are using, the exciting and attractive visuals, I am sure that it would appeal to a lot of young people who think that this is a cool product.
And of course, we've been doing a lot of research on this topic, and I have gotten so many targeted ads on vaping. Let me just show you.
Ads for vapes have been appearing on my feed, despite the fact that social media platforms say they're banned.
And on top of just ads, I've even gotten targeted posts on social media from overseas influencers promoting vapes. Do you feel like online personalities are a huge influence?
Definitely, especially if the young person looks up to him or her and could be a follower, and then they would want to try the different types of products and services that the personality is using, not even promoting, but just to be seen with that handbag or that car would be something that's inspirational.
Are there gaps in the law when it comes to social media content and advertising regulations?
This is certainly an area that is fast evolving, and it's often difficult for advertising regulations to keep up with what's happening on social media. So many of the promotional content on social media is now hidden in different facets of the online platform. It's very, very difficult to monitor, unlike television advertising, which is seen by 20,000 people at one shot. Only you get to see the content that's being pushed out to you. So how do you police that?
Smoking's out, vaping's in. And with a growing subculture that even includes global vape fairs, I'm concerned we're in a losing battle against vape companies targeting the next generation. Can we get things under control before vaping becomes the next smoking epidemic?
Do you foresee vape companies upping their game a little bit to get around the rules?
And how can we get our teens to quit?
There would be asking me about withdrawal symptoms. Hey, Dr. Frank, I feel insomnia. My stomach is upset. I'm really irritable. When are these cravings going to go away?
While many countries are taking a cautious approach, the United Kingdom is one of the few nations in the world to promote vaping as a smoking cessation tool. According to British health authorities, vaping has helped tens of thousands of smokers quit a year. But the World Health Organization says that evidence on the use of e-cigarettes as a smoking cessation aid is inconclusive. Teen vaping is becoming a growing problem around the world, including the UK. The number of 11 to 15-year-old pupils using vapes inched up to 9% in 2021. In the United States, more than 11% of high school students aged 14 to 18 admitted to vaping the same year. In Singapore, it's illegal to buy, own, or use a vape. But more than 4,600 people were caught in 2021, and a third of them were under the age of 18.
I've learned that the global vape industry is booming, and laws banning e-cigarettes aren't stopping young people from getting their hands on them. So I'm wondering, is there anything we can do to get things under control?
Dr. Yvette van der Eyck has studied the tobacco industry's tactics for the last decade and advises government agencies on tobacco control.
So I visited a chain store in Malaysia and they've said that the target audience is only smokers who are looking to quit. And a lot of vape makers and retailers also say the same thing. Do you buy this argument?
Not really, because the thing is, the world is moving towards getting rid of smoking, right? More and more countries increasingly are talking about a tobacco end game, which is a specific goal to get rid of smoking completely, right? So what that means is the volume of smokers is going down all the time. So if they were only going to target current smokers, that's a very poor business model. In order for their business to survive, they also need to be targeting, in that case, non-smokers, most of whom are going to be young people, teenagers.
Are regulations in different countries struggling to catch up?
Yeah, I would say so. For instance, one issue that we saw, especially when e-cigarettes first became popular, is that because they're not considered a medicinal product, and they're not considered a tobacco product, right? They're kind of an in-between because they don't contain tobacco, but also they're not used for medicinal purposes really, they're used recreationally. So what that meant in a lot of countries is they escaped through those regulatory, it was like a loophole that the companies could then exploit.
Do you foresee vape companies upping their game a little bit to get around the rules?
They already have. They already do that. Well, I mean, for one, the lobby is very strong. You know, so for instance, if countries are trying to regulate these products, they will put up a very strong lobby to stop those regulations, or they will argue for things like voluntary regulations. So they will say, okay, we will not target young people in our advertising. When you look at the adverts, it's pretty clear who their target audience is.
And to your knowledge, has the vape industry done any lobbying here in Singapore?
Well, the thing is, this is Singapore. They're not going to be outside government buildings with protest signs, right? It doesn't work like that here. But it's also quite telling that a lot of them have set up the headquarters in Singapore, even though it's so tightly regulated here. So for instance, Philip Morris, BAT, JTI, and also Juul, e-cigarette brand, they all have headquarters here. Initially, a lot of the vaping brands started off as standalone brands from independent companies. But what we're seeing now is that these companies are being acquired more and more by the tobacco industry, right? And what we're also seeing is that the tobacco companies themselves have launched their own vaping brands.
Then should Singapore regulate vaping just as how it does with smoking?
To allow them on the market but regulate it, I don't think it's the right time to be able to do that just yet. Because the thing is, a lot of the long-term evidence of the safety of e-cigarettes, we just don't have it yet. So we can't really put them on the market with that kind of confidence. There's a lot of misinformation because, you know, young people, they're picking this up and they don't even realize there's nicotine in them. They don't know of all the other additives and their health effects either.
How much worse will the teen vaping crisis get if we don't act now?
This is a problem that we saw with smoking, right, decades ago. I mean, the first evidence of their harm surfaced in the 50s. So before then, people were just smoking left, right, and center. They didn't even know it was harmful for them. And then we have this massive problem where over 100 million people have died because of it just in the last century. So I can see the same thing happening with vaping if they are harmful and if there's no checks.
As laws catch up, some are taking the fight against teen vaping to where they live, social media.
I care about my health. That's why I'm out here. That's why I need to quit vape.
It has been tough, but I didn't think I would make it this far, and I have.
Okay, but it is food safe. Yes, but we don't breathe in our food. Most people will know by now there are multiple reports of lung injury because of vaping, as well as vaping-associated deaths.
Vaping products contain nicotine, which is highly addictive, especially for those who start young.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
And that's what worries Dr. Frank Mikulski, who is an addiction recovery coach. He's got more than 400,000 followers on TikTok, and most of his videos have one message.
Quit vaping for a massive boost in confidence.
How many videos have you done on vaping on TikTok?
I have literally done thousands. I mean, I'm not kidding. 3 videos a day for 5 years, teaching kids how to quit vaping.
Why do you feel so strongly about getting kids off vaping?
So when I was younger, I got addicted to vaping, And when I was trying to quit, there were very few resources out there available to help me. So I wanted to find a more effective way of relaying that message to younger people. I think TikTok is the easiest form to go viral on. Secondly, that's where I knew my crowd was. We make programs here for schools in New York to help kids quit vaping. And I want to be on the platform that the teenage population is on.
Do you get lots of DMs about how to quit vaping?
A lot of younger people are turning to social media to ask questions.
It's very normal in the first 3 days to 2 weeks to feel like you have the flu.
I would say across all our social media platforms, we probably average anywhere from 500 to 800 DMs a week about vaping.
What are the common questions that they ask?
Primary ones would be asking me about withdrawal symptoms. Hey, Dr. Frank, I feel insomnia. My stomach is upset. I'm really irritable. When are these cravings going to go away? So a bulk of the questions are revolved around setting forth expectations when someone quits.
How important do you think social media is to get teens off vaping?
If I can go into a school auditorium and I can say, hey guys, I got 450,000 followers on TikTok, suddenly everyone cares who I am. They're like, oh, this guy isn't just some anti-vaping guy. He's an influencer. And that immediately gives our programs tons of credibility.
What are some tips you can give to the younger person who wants to get off vaping?
I would want them to realize that quitting vaping isn't about giving anything up. It's about what you're gaining back in life. I would also tell them basic things. Focus on exercise. If you like meditating or journaling, try doing those things. Other simple things too. Taking a shower when you get a craving, doing some push-ups, doing some jumping jacks. I would tell them aim for 2 weeks, aim for 30 days, and then reassess. They're like, okay, I can do 30 days. And then hopefully they feel better and they continue down the path of quitting.
If tobacco companies are buying into the vape market, then it looks like vaping may be the future of smoking. And the scariest part is we won't know the long-term health effects until it's too late. So how do we stop our teens from getting hooked? Well, we can counter the messaging on social media and look out for the telltale signs. So the next time you see one of these or smell a sweet scent in the air, you'll know your kid is vaping.